Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Saturday, June 18th. So the moon is in Aquarius, but will be moving into Pisces. We have the moon going void, of course, 2:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, locking into Pisces, 7:02 p.m. There is a good chunk of time there, approximately 4.5, 5 hours, where things are going to be a little bit shaky, hella unstable. We are going to feel the nervousness, the doubts, the fears, the insecurities arise. And then, like typically speaking, anytime we move out of the Aquarian energy and into the Piscean energy, things get emotional, things get sensitive, things get overwhelming. Why? Pisces energy is a water energy, very transformative, very healing, but we gotta feel what it is that we gotta heal. We are very hypersensitive in Piscean energy. We are connected to everything, and therefore we pick up on the subtle energies of everything. We can become overwhelmed with thoughts, with emotions, with energies that may not even belong to us. And it is a time where we get pushed into certain situations so that we can see the spiritual layers of the life lessons that we're currently going through, where we can bring things full circle. We have to understand Piscean energy is the last sign of the zodiac before we jump into Aries energy, which is the first sign of the zodiac that brings us back to life again. There's a lot of release, a lot of realization, a lot of purging that goes on in the Piscean energy. Again, ultimately, we are healing some things, but it can be a very heavy energy for us to navigate, for us to kind of identify with. And the downside of Piscean energy is that it is the escape artist. We want to numb, we want to run and hide, we want to bury our head in the sand, we don't want to deal with life. And that can be very overwhelming, especially with some of the other aspects that we have to go through here today. So there are 9 different aspects. 8 of them involve the moon. With the moon still in Aquarian energy, giving us an upper hand to be able to emotionally detach if need be, for us to see the bigger picture, the bigger vision, for us to push for progress, for improvement. We have the moon semi-squaring Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, blessings, belief, abundance, who is in Aries energy for the first time in 12 years, really wanting to get things started, wanting to initiate a brand new chapter, wanting to jump into a brand new opportunity. But of course, we do have the foot on the brake with some of the other aspects going on in the cosmos right now. And this in itself can create a lot of drama within ourselves, within our physical realities. Why? Because we are frustrated. Things aren't going as we would like them to go. They're not going fast enough. We're not seeing change. We're not seeing the new chapters unfold as fast as we would like. There's some impatience there. There's some restlessness there. And with the moon kind of semi-squaring Jupiter at this point in time, instead of focusing on what it is that we want for ourselves, what we want more of, what we want to build, what we want to dream of, what we want to manifest, we are getting stuck in the lack of scarcity mindset. What does that mean? Well, when you consider, oh my goodness, I would love to have this in my life, there's an excitement there. When you visualize what kind of reality you want to be living in, when you realize what makes you happy, that is a positive vibration. But when you take a look at your life and you realize, oh my goodness, I want more connection in my relationships, that's a good energy. But if you're looking at your current relationships going, oh, I'm so unsatisfied. This isn't what I want. I don't have the love. I don't have the support. I don't have the encouragement. I don't have the connection. I don't have the intimacy. Well, that is a bad vibe. That is a very negative vibration and frequency. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not entitled to it, because of course we have to be realistic about what it is that we are not enjoying in our lives in order to figure out what it is that we want to cultivate and invite in. But this particular energy could create a lot of just discontentment, unsatisfaction, very much focused on the, I don't have this, or I wish I had that, instead of focusing on the, I can't wait to have this. I can't wait to bring this to life. I can't wait to be listening and hearing of all the positive validating, supportive narratives from the people in my lives instead of the negative ass narratives that I get when I share my dreams with other people. So be very, very cautiously aware of the mindset that you are going to have, because this particular aspect does turn the focus on the lack of scarcity mindset that does not feel good, that is not helpful for us kind of maintaining a positive vibration and frequency. And again, we are meant to realize what it is that we're not happy with in order to create something good out of it. But when we set up camp in all the things that we're not happy with, we create a vibration and frequency that doesn't stand a chance in actually manifesting and inviting in the kind of situations and scenarios that we actually desire for ourselves. The moon is going to square the true node, square Venus. As you may remember, just a couple of days ago, Thursday, we had Venus conjunct the true node. Now, let me just take this moment to remind you that when we talk about aspects, for example, I'm going to go back to Thursday. If you didn't listen to that forecast, go ahead and listen to it. Venus conjunct the true node, our soul's destiny point, for the first time in this Taurus energy. Venus is in her place of power. The true node is in Taurus, on the Taurus and Scorpio axis. That's why we're having the moon events that we're having on the Taurus and Scorpio axis. Now, I had said this creates an opportunity for us to be in the right place at the right time for new opportunities, new connections, especially where love and money are concerned. This brings in a new look, a new improvement, a new growth. So here's what I want to be a little bit more clear about. When we talk about these kind of aspects popping off, I have a lot of people who are like, no, Thursday came and went, no luck here, no chance encounters, no money opportunities, what's going on, right? Please, please, please understand that this doesn't happen in a day, okay? This activates the energy that we will be working with for the next cycle until Venus bumps into this true node once again, which won't happen for approximately another year. I want you to think of Jumanji. I want you to think of the Hunger Games. Why? In Jumanji, you rolled the dice. We figured out what shit show that dice, that gameplay created. You had to go through that gameplay before the other person could roll the dice. We moved into the next scenario. In the Hunger Games, they had pretty much a clock, right? When that clock moved into the next segment of that clock, it unleashed a brand new test, a brand new lesson. When we have planets in the cosmos aspecting each other, meeting up for the first time in a long time, it does not mean that you are going to experience the effects of that energy on that day. It's a trigger point. It means that we have now unlocked the level where Venus, who is in Taurus, her place of power, who is all about embodying happiness, joy, pleasure, peace, harmony, value, worth within ourselves, how it is that we are able to navigate these physical circumstances that feel very unpleasant, very uncomfortable, very, very heavy, and where it is that we can shift our perspective each and every single day to pluck out the joy, pluck out the opportunity, pluck out the silver linings out of the not so nice scenarios that we're currently living in. Venus is about the feminine divine energy, what she's looking to embody. The Taurus energy wants us to be self-sufficient, self-reliant, so that we stop looking outside of ourselves for validation, for healing, for justification, for resources. So the fact that she just bumped into the true node, this unlocks this energy for us to work with for approximately the next year. We are going to have other aspects take place in the cosmos that are going to emphasize specific days, specific windows of opportunity where this particular level got unlocked. Think about it as a video game, okay? You're in a Mario situation, okay? You just got that flashy little mushroom, which means that you're flashing, which means that the music is going fast, which means that in this window of opportunity, you get to collect more coins. You get to go faster. You get the opportunity to unlock more rewards for yourself. This is what happens when we have very special aspects take place that unlocks this energy for a certain window of time. I needed to go on that rant because I really don't think that a lot of people understand that when we have aspects, and I speak about, there's a new opportunity coming in, there's a new luck coming in, we're going to be in the right place at the right time. People actually expect that it's going to happen in that day. They think, oh my goodness, if it didn't happen on Thursday, like she said, then it ain't happening for me. What's wrong with me? No, that's not the way that, astrology works. That's not the way that energy works. Please just keep in mind that we're now in this level of opportunity where love and money is concerned. And when we have other supporting aspects kind of pop off, it's going to emphasize this again. We're going to be able to jump up and hit that colorful mushroom. We're going to be able to hear that fast music. We're going to be able to collect more coins and move through this level a lot quicker without being harmed, okay? We're using our invisibility factor here. The enemies in this particular level and game aren't going to affect us when we're in a situation where this Venus and true node aspect are totally activated in its power. So I hope that helps. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because today we have the moon squaring conflict, tension with both the true node and Venus. They're close together. That's why we just had the conjunction. And this particular energy is putting us at a crossroads, creating tension, creating conflict, because that's the only way that we change. The moon in Aquarian energy wants to see the big picture of why we're hitting roadblocks, why things aren't going fast enough, why people are falling away from us, why opportunities aren't working out the way that we want. Please understand that everything is happening according to the divine law and order of our lives. And if you, ego self, are working actively to try and make something happen, and you're constantly reaching a roadblock, constantly being pushed back, maybe you need to stop and ask yourself if maybe you're missing the signs of being detoured onto something better. Maybe you're not supposed to be pushing so hard. Maybe you're supposed to be in a state of reception, sitting back, seeing what flows to you, instead of being aggressive and pushing yourself forward in a path that maybe you're not destined to walk. This particular square, especially with the true node is our destiny point. A square shows us that we're unsure, we're unfamiliar with what the next move should be. When it comes to plans, when it comes to, logic, practicality, putting a strategy together. We are kind of cluster after right now. Again, keep in mind, we're wrapping up Gemini season where we're choosing one path, one choice, one decision over the other. We are almost to the solstice energy when the sun moves into Cancer next week, which anchors in these new timelines. This activates for us an experimental period where we're going to kind of spice things up and see what makes us happy, what makes us feel safe and secure. We are in a specific chapter of energy right now where confusion is the name of the game in order for us to get raw and vulnerable and real with ourselves to figure out what actually makes us feel safe, what provides us with a sense of independence and freedom, where it is that we feel safe and secure in our emotions and our mental plane and our physical circumstances. Please use what is not working for you as a framework on where it is that maybe you need to create something better out of receiving the signs that things aren't working so well. The square with Venus is putting us in a state where we're really not sure emotionally what it is that we want, need, and desire. Within ourselves, within our relationships, within our routines, within our job, our career, our money matters, in our physical circumstances. We need to feel uncomfortable in order for us to realize what we're not happy with, in order for us to realize where it is that the change is needed the most. The moon is going to conjunct, come up, sit next to, team up with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who is retrograde, pushing us to look back over the last 12 months of our lives where the tough love life lessons have been popping at us, bitch slapping us with the truth, with reality. And this particular energy is trying to show us where it is that we did boss up, where it is we did do the work, where it is that we did get our hands dirty, where we did have enough determination and discipline in order to make the changes in our physical realms to break us free from roles and responsibilities of old karmic patterns, where it is that we've been prepping ourselves, cleaning the slate, setting the stage for new timelines, for new storylines, for new soul contracts to level up. Or you could be in a situation where you're reflecting over the last 12 months and realizing where it is that you've run, where it is that you've been hiding away from your roles, away from your responsibilities, away from the inner work that you need to do in order to actually level up in life, karmically speaking, spiritually speaking. If you are reflecting over the last 12 months and realizing where it is that you failed to boss up, where you failed to have the discipline, where you failed to have the determination to do what is necessary to push through the hard parts in order to level up and do the inner work necessary in order to put you in a position to move on in life, then you know what? You're going to have a hard time from now until the fall, because this is a time where you can make up for lost time if you failed to rise to the occasion to learn the lesson the first time. The moon and Saturn together. Our moon is our emotions, our unconscious self. Saturn is a little bit of a military grandfather wanting us to learn the tough love lessons the hard way so that we absolutely get it, that we take our time, that we go through this process low and slow so that we've 100% absorbed the wisdom that we need in order to actually integrate that wisdom, integrate the resources so that we can take that into our next chapter when we are gifted the opportunity to do so, and we're able to use that information, that wisdom, that knowledge in the next level of the video game. Here's the thing. We tend to be a little bit down, somber, depressed. The weight of the world, especially our commitments, the roles, responsibilities that we have in the world weigh very heavily on our heart space, on our shoulders. Is this a bad thing? Well, no, because we need to be illuminated to what it is that we're no longer aligned with, the weight that we carry in our lives in order to see where it is that we have to lessen the load, because that's the only time that we ever make changes and transformations in our life is when we're at a breaking point. We can expect there to be a heavy emotional energy here today. Saturn is very active here today. With this particular aspect popping off, it is going to be super hard in order to actually visualize the dream, the vision, the goal for yourself, because the Saturn energy doesn't want us to get too far ahead of ourselves. We have a lot to learn in the here and now. We have a lot to clean up from our past in the here and now before we're even going to be granted the opportunity to take a step forward in the major life lessons, the karmic storylines that are being presented to us at this particular point in the ascension process. The moon is going to bump into Neptune in not the nicest way. This puts us at odds with our dreams, with our inspiration. We don't even have a gut feeling. We're lacking the connection with our intuition right now. We are so freaking kind of weighted down here in this physical realm, in our physical meat suits, in the present moment, where we're having a hard time acting as the observer, aligning with our higher self, getting that dream, getting that vision. We're very conflicted. Our wants, needs, and desires for a futuristic realm for us to live in are so freaking different than the current circumstances that we're living in, that Debbie Downer and Negative Nancy are coming out to play trying to tell us that we're never going to be able to change. We're never ever going to be able to bust free of these circumstances. We're never ever going to be able to live the kind of life that we want, need, and desire. Do not let your ego trip you into a state of fear paralysis. This is a test. The moon, right before it goes void of course, will trine the sun. This is a positive aspect. This lightens the vibe. We have the Aquarian energy, the Gemini energy, air, mental processing. Now we're overriding this negative ass narrative. Now we are nipping the negative thoughts in the bud. We are seeing the old parts of us very attached to the, let's call it, negative experiences that we've accumulated, Because of course, that's how the ego learns in order to tell us that, hey, maybe you shouldn't put yourself out there. Hey, maybe you shouldn't set yourself up for disappointment. Hey, maybe you don't deserve to be happy, deserve to be financially well off. This is the ego narrative. The sun, again, shining a bright light on our ego, on our present in the moment now with this Gemini energy. Where can we open up our minds? Where can we override the system? Where can we override the narrative? Where can we move away from the not so nice vibe and move closer to the better vibe? Where can we create distance from the old circumstances that we now know we're not aligned with? And where can we move closer to the situation, to the scenario that we desire to actually bring into life? This is when the moon goes void, of course. While the moon is void, the moon is going to make a troublesome aspect with Pluto, the great transformer, who is also retrograde in Capricorn, trying to show us where our inner power is. How do we learn about our inner power? Through the pain and suffering. How come we have to learn that way? Because humans like to learn the hard way. We need to recognize where it is in our past situations, in our past experiences, where we failed to boss up, where we failed to level up, where we allowed the pain, the suffering, the trauma, the memories in order to keep us in a state of paralysis so that we do not improve, we do not progress. What is the purpose of this? Well, it's to make us feel absolutely ticked off, pissed off, frustrated, angry, to the point where we're going to start saying, I'm going to do this just to prove people wrong, just to prove myself wrong, just to do this, just to do that. We are now taking the negative energy, we are turning it into a positive. We are now taking the darkness of our lives, of our storylines, we're turning it into a source of light. We are now taking our pain and turning it into power. We need to sit in the funk. We need to be frustrated. We need to muster up a negative frustration energy in order for us to use that as fuel to burn a fire in our heart and under our ass in order to make the kind of changes and transformations in our life that we know that we have to make in order for us to break free of some of the patterns, some of the conditions, some of the behaviors, some of the relationships, some of the lessons that many of us have been revolving in so that we can bust free of that and start evolving in a different direction. 5:32, while the moon is still void, we have Venus squaring Saturn. Let me warn you, this is a time where we're going to be very aware of what it is that we're not happy with. This can trigger depression. This can trigger isolation. This can put some negative ass thoughts in your head where you feel unloved. This can show you where it is that your relationships suck, where it is that your relationships are strained. This can invite negative Nancy out to play, Betty the bully out to play. Suddenly you're really starting to question your worth and your value, not within yourself, not only within your relationships, but in the world. This is showing us where it is that we're having some difficulties, not only in our relationship status, not only on the social platform, but in our own emotions. We are on guard. We are defensive. We are highly stimulated. We don't trust anything. We don't trust anyone. We want so badly a true connection, intimacy, a relationship with the right kinds of people that honestly we could slip into in a dissociative narrative where we don't even know that that exists in the world. Saturn tends to be hard on us. We have to break down before a breakthrough. Heads up, we're headed for a Venus and Neptune sextile early Sunday morning. So we're playing off of this delusion. We're playing off this isolation. We're playing off of the negative aspects of both Saturn and Neptune, which means that we want to run and hide. We want to curl up in a ball. We want to cry ourselves a little victimized story. Now, go ahead and do that if need be, but just understand that you're going to have to boss up at the end of it. You can't set up camp there. You can't live there. This particular energy, yes, brings in a very low vibe, very low narrative. We're feeling the weight of the world on our heart space. We are feeling very frustrated. We don't know how we're going to get out of this funk. This too shall pass. Just remind yourself of that. And when the moon moves into Pisces at 7:02 p.m., the first aspect that the moon in Pisces is going to make is a semi-square, which hurts, with Chiron, the wounded healer. One would say, why do we have to go through this? Well, because guess what? There's some healing to do. And one thing you have to realize is that in order to heal, you have to hurt. In order to heal, you have to acknowledge the hurt. In order to heal, you have to sit with the hurt. And right now, because the moon is in Pisces, we have to rip all the Band-Aids off of our gunshot wounds because our delusional selves thinks that we can just put a Band-Aid over a gunshot wound and pretend that it's going to heal. We're ripping all the Band-Aids off. We are submerging ourselves in salt water to let those freaking wounds sting, so that when we get out of this saltwater bath that is illuminating to us where the wounds are, where we have to really kind of reevaluate our healing strategy, we're going to get out of the bath, we're going to take a good look at ourselves in the mirror, and we're really going to make a judgment call on where it is that we need to focus on the wounds the most. Some are healing, some are still wide open, some are infected, some are still gushing blood. We have to triage, okay? We have to triage our most open and painful wounds at this time. The moon in Pisces, very sensitive, very connected to our soul self, very connected to karmic lessons, very connected to our dream state, our creativity, our empathy, our compassion. Also very connected to lies, delusion, victimhood, numbing, escapism. If you continue to run away from your wounds, they will not just heal, they will get infected. They will infect your whole freaking body. You will become in a state of sepsis. You will find toxic poison, toxic, whatever you want to call it, move through your body. Are we talking about the physical body? Yes. Where does that stem from? Emotions. Where do emotions get healed from? The mental plane. What do we got to do with that? We have to bring it into awareness. We have to sort it through. We have to process it. We have to ask ourselves some deep-seated questions. We have to have a different perspective. We have to open up our mind. We have to rewrite the narrative. And then we heal the emotions. When we heal the emotions, it has an effect on healing our physical body. Why? Because we trap emotions in our cellular memory, in our physical form. This is why, through the ascension process, when new light codes come in, many of us are feeling pain. These light codes should be coming in and making us feel great, making us feel high vibe, energized, inspired. But many of us have failed to do the inner work necessary to remove the emotional blockages out of our cellular memory, and therefore these light codes get stuck in our physical form. We get aches, we get pains, we get sore throats, we get headaches, we get sore joints, because that is where the work is needed. So we're constantly having to take cues from our physical body, where the discomfort is, where the aches and pains are. We have to relate that in the area of the body that it's manifesting in to the energy chakra that rules over that particular area of the body. We have to take a look at the energy chakra and what the negative emotions are needed in order to create dis-ease in that area of the body. And then we have to get the mental plane activated to sort through what could have caused this. Where am I storing the trauma? What have I not processed? You do the work. It's called shadow work. You do the work. You release the pain. You release the energy. The light codes come in. They flow more easily. Suddenly, you're not in a state of discomfort and pain. Suddenly, you are feeling amazing, inspired, motivated to push forward. We are light beings. We are light warriors. But we have to have a strong enough vessel to handle the power of the light. This is going to be a very interesting next couple of days as we get closer to the solstice energy. This is going to be all up in the feels in order to bring to our attention where the work is needed the most.